Well, because of what's happened during COVID, with the tremendous amount of growth in the Southeast and not as much in the West Coast, it's been much more competitive in the Southeast. There's a lot of capital flowing to the Southeast, a lot of that capital out of New York, which has a lot of capital. So, even right now, where I would say we are effectively in a real estate recession, it's significantly competitive in the Southeast and not as much on the West Coast.
Got it. Okay, that's why I asked the question. When you say we're in a real estate recession, what does that mean to you?
That means that prices have gone down. They remain below their Q1 2022 peak. Rents are fine. They're holding. Some markets are softening. That's, of course, market to market. They're definitely not increasing much. And it's very difficult to transact because the capital markets are very soft. And interest rates are very high and cap rates were very low. So you've got a lot of people that don't want to sell. They don't want to meet the market because prices were so much higher just 7-8 months ago. So psychologically, that's a tough pill to swallow when you have to sell millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars less than you would have sold just a few months ago.
Very interesting. What markets are you seeing rents down the most in, or however you want to answer that?
We're getting a little bit of seasonality right now in the Pac Northwest. So our rents are down, but that's partly seasonal too because it's winter, which last year didn't really happen because of all the inflation, all the demand that was created. But I would attribute part of that to seasonality. We're seeing some softening in the Bay Area. A little bit of softening. The Florida markets are holding pretty well. We aren't in Phoenix or Vegas, but those markets are getting hit hard. Well, hard. Relative to some of the other markets. They're not getting hit nearly as hard as they were in 2009, but they're getting hit harder, relatively speaking.
And then the question was about rents going down, but then is that also apply to occupancy? Is occupancy going down as well in some of those markets?
It is. Occupancy is going down, I would say, from the high 90s into the low 90s. I think people just hit a breaking point with their incomes, right? Rents can't keep going up 15, 20% a year. That's not sustainable. Especially with wages going up 6 to 10%, 6 to 8% with CPI being hot. And you're starting to see people either get roommates, move back in with parents, they're doing that thing. They're just, they kind of hit timeout on paying a few hundred more and jumping over the next guy to get that unit. So it hit a wall and it's just not sustainable to do that.